Divine greetings, grand risings, and happy Sunday, beautiful kings and queens, friends and family. I'm so happy to be here with you today. I got inspired to come on and do a live stream. I just got off an incredible interview with my beautiful sister, Queen Sabina, and I felt inspired to come on and share with you a little bit more from our conversation, and also to serve you in terms of talking about some of the challenges that we face in going raw, some of the struggles that a lot of us are going through, and make us go back to eating what we were eating. And we're not just going to talk about food today, but we're also going to talk about the emotional component, the emotional detox that happens when we adopt this lifestyle. So we are streaming live on Facebook. This is very impromptu. Felt inspired to come on. So let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to answer your questions. I'm on the Facebook. All right, we're good. I love doing these interactively. It's fun to know that you're here with me as I record, and I'll also share this on Facebook, on YouTube as well afterwards. So something really interesting that Queen Sabina said today was, just on the other side of your fear is your freedom. And this is something that has been coming up in my life a lot, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, and realizing on the other side is this breakthrough, is the joy and the freedom that I'd been looking for, that I was so afraid of. So a lot of the times when we come into this lifestyle, we could be faced with a lot of fears, a lot of programmings, conditionings, questions, such as, where am I going to get my protein from? Am I not going to be malnourished? How can I live off fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds? And one of the first thing I want to talk about in, some of the challenges that we face in going raw is respecting the transition. Respecting and accepting where we are at in our journey, and then honoring that there's a transition period. Also, we were talking today, Queen Sabina calls it the art of detox. It is an art. It is a refinement of our habits. It is a refinement of our life path, and it doesn't happen overnight. So first and foremost, we have to be patient with ourselves. We have to give ourselves the time and space to really transform and really cleanse, on a cellular level, detox, and take on more habits, better habits, start including more living foods into the lifestyle. Sometimes when we try to jump from one to the next super fast, we end up feeling kind of disappointed in ourselves, or giving into the cravings and not being able to live that sustainably. So it's about the transition and respecting that, if we're coming from, eating a lot of animal products and dairy and refined sugars, salt, fried foods, a lot of desserts and things like that, then we need to start looking at one thing at a time, start incorporating more living foods, and slowly eliminating those processed foods. So that's the first thing to look at, is to look at, what am I eating that's not natural, that's not growing in the earth? What am I eating every day? Take a stock of what it is that you're doing, write it down, become more conscious of what it is that you're consuming on a day-to-day basis. Hi, Dad. Hi, Queen Norma. King Dad, how are you? I miss you in France. Hope you're having a fun time. I'm sure you are. Felt inspired to come on live and talk about the transition and some of the challenges that we may be facing, because it's a hard journey. Let's face it, it's not for everybody who is not ready. It's not for those who aren't ready to face themselves. It is for everybody, for who wants to face themselves, who's ready to feel the emotions, who's ready to be sensitive in this sometimes challenging world, because that's what it is. A lot of emotions might be coming up when we start to detox, when we start to cleanse. And a lot of the time we get scared. We're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to go to this place within myself. And a lot of repressed emotions do start coming up from our childhood, from different things that happen in our life, because those traumas are held in our tissues and our muscles, in the waist. You know, when we say we hold on to our shit, that's literally true. So we have to be ready to let go emotions, trauma, baggage. Hi, Queen Nancy, good to see you. So being ready to be our most raw, authentic self, I think, is the goal, because being raw is not just about the food. You know, it's so much more than the food. The food is like a result of us doing the inner work on ourselves, and it's a result of us loving ourselves to the max, right? Because when we love ourselves, hi, King Chandan. Hi, Queen Danielle. Good to see you. It's a result of us loving ourselves and honoring our sacred temple. So once we have that self-love, we're ready to take those steps towards, you know, unfaithful. Okay, I don't know who you are. So it's a result of all the self-work and the self-love that we have for ourselves. Another reason why a lot of people, you know, have challenges on the raw diet is that they're not consuming enough calories. They're not consuming enough hydrating calories, especially like fruits and juices and smoothies. That's a lot of the time where we will bulk up on the, you know, healthy calories that keep us nourished, keep us flowing, keep us energized throughout the day. You know, we can't be restrictive on this lifestyle. We literally start to get more in tune with our body and with our natural hunger and our cycles. So definitely honoring ourselves and giving the body like the proper nutrition is super important. In the transition phase, we might need a lot more protein as well, like, you know, a little bit more like dehydrated burgers, for example, might be okay, or nuts and seeds might be, you know, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Or if we're eating still some cooked foods, then to have like the lentil soup or the, you know, chickpea curry and things like that, that are more nourishing and more filling and healthier than the meat, you know, alternative. So if we want to move outside, you know, move towards a more plant-based lifestyle, it's good to have those transition meals of like sweet potato or baked beans or stew beans and things like that. It's still super much better than having, you know, the fried chicken or the steak or the ribs. Let me just see the comments. Yeah, letting go is part of our development. We have to be ready to let go. I always say this, that it takes a lot of humility, a lot of courage to let go of our belief systems, of what we've been taught, and being able to admit that, you know, there's another way. And that's the most challenging thing for a lot of us, because our ego is so strong a lot of the times, and it's hard to admit that, and it's hard to let go, because there's comfort in there, right? Let's face it, the food brings us comfort, the drugs bring us comfort, the alcohol brings us comfort. They're there for a reason. And until we're ready to like look at the underlying issues that are really going on, where the food is masking or numbing, or the alcohol or the drugs, like whatever it may be, we have to be ready to feel whatever it is that we need to feel in order to be raw and be our most raw, authentic self. That's what our community is all about. It's not just about the food, it's about being our most honest and vulnerable and real self. So yes. Hi, King Billy, Billy Zane in the house, Queen Kazri, good to see you. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, this wasn't really planned, but here I am. Another challenge in going raw is feeling really alone in what we're doing, feeling isolated, feeling like we're so different from everybody else. So that's what I really love about our community and coming together even coming like this and, you know, hearing me speak may make you feel like you're not so alone on this path, because we could feel really isolated. And we have these like social events, these barbecues happening, and a lot of different things where we feel like so different from others. And, you know, we you know, man, women, we have this need to feel accepted, feel loved, feel in connection to one another and understood. So coming together in community is so important and has really helped me to go raw, to know that I'm not alone doing this, and to recognize that I'm not here to follow a crowd, but I'm here to bring about some change and inspire others for a new way. And, you know, the programming is very strong on one end. Look at all the commercials that we see, look at all the, you know, like restaurants that are all over the place, and it's really challenging. So we kind of have to repeat these things to one another and inspire each other and tell each other that it's possible, not just possible, but like, I am thriving on the living foods. Like, I am doing so much better emotionally, physically. I was, you know, chronically constipated or diarrhea. Like, I had the worst digestion ever. I had cystic acne, like depression, addictions, like, and I thought it was all in my brain. I thought the problem was in my brain, but it really was in my body, in my gut. So once I started healing that, then everything started feeling better. I started having more energy. I started having clearer thoughts and discovered literally my mission on this earth. Like, by healing myself, I started realizing that I'm here to help others as well. So if you're looking for, you know, your passion, your purpose in your life, like, start within, start with yourself, like, know yourself and know what you are thriving on. You have to thrive first in order to, you know, support others in their journey. So definitely, like, when we heal ourselves, we heal the world, and it has this amazing ripple effect all around us. I never thought I'd be sharing like this in this way. I mean, I knew I could, but I had so many fears, so many like self-limiting beliefs that I had to overcome in order to just even like press that play button or like go live on Facebook. Like, it's so scary. It's so scary. And today is all about facing the fear. And I give thanks, you know, to all my support system, and to God, of course, for giving me the strength to come and share and be here with you. So, all right, I'm a little bit all over the place. I didn't have like anything set, but definitely like eating enough calories, getting in those fruits, getting in those smoothies, making the salads like larger than life, you know, larger than life. We want to get full, and even sometimes like a little bit over full, so that we can be sustained for an amount of time, right? It's not the same quality of calories. It's not the same density of calories. So we definitely need more volume. Thank you. I love you all so much. Yeah, we only got one shot at life. It's time to face our fears. It feels good. It feels good to face those fears and do what we felt was like so challenging. I was talking about like having so much anxiety at some point a couple of years ago where I couldn't even pick up the phone. I was so crippled with anxiety. I couldn't even open my computer or, you know, pick up my phone. And I've come a long way in terms of like handling my anxiety. Breath work has been helping me a lot, which is another tool in going raw, is like controlling our nervous system, is like learning to be in control of our breath. You know, like mindfulness, mindful breathing is everything. So whether it's meditation or, you know, breath of fire, alternate nostril breathing, box breathing, like find a practice that supports you every day in calming your nervous system down. Because a lot of time we eat because we're nervous, we're anxious, and we have a really high, like, you know, our nervous system is jacked up from all the stimulation as well, from our phones and from different things happening. So calm your nervous system down, learn to be with yourself, and learn to really like listen into your body, listen into like your cues. Are you really hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you need a hug? Do you need a walk? Like, a lot of the times the nourishment that we need is not necessarily with the food, right? And I know this because I've been, you know, overcoming many food addictions, and I struggle with them sometimes. And because I'm not truly always like connected to what it is that I really need, you know, am I hungry? Do I need to like continue to that point of like feeling so uncomfortable? What is it that's going on inside? So it's always emotional. There's a lot of shadow work that needs to be addressed when we, you know, take on this path. A lot of, yeah, just healing the emotional side of it. and being ready to be emotional, being ready to cry. Like, how uncomfortable sometimes am I to cry or to even feel whatever it is that I need to feel. So like allowing ourselves to have those emotions, because there's not going to be that same buffer, that same numbing agent, those chemicals, those like heavy, rich flavors to suppress. First of all, being aware that that's what we're doing is like suppressing the emotions, whatever it is that we're eating that's cooked or high flavors, whether we realize it or not, is an emotional suppressant. So just coming to terms with that and realizing that I'm trying to numb something is sometimes a big realization for a lot of people. Definitely was for me. Developing a support system, having a mentor, having a coach is super helpful. And developing a spiritual life is really helpful as well, because when we have, a spiritual life, when we have, God in our hearts and something bigger than us, maybe you don't want to call it God, not everybody's comfortable with that, but that's okay. Like something bigger than us, then we feel like we're supported, like we're not alone. Prayer is super helpful. Like I said, meditation is really beneficial as well, to like get more in touch with yourself and with your higher power. Every day I pray. Every day I ask God for forgiveness. I ask God for guidance. I ask him for support and to send me, like I thank him. I don't even ask him to send me anybody, but I thank him for sending me all the right people. That's how I pray now. I thank him as I know that it's already there, because I have so much faith in him and his divine plan for my life and for myself. And like the more I love him, the more I love myself, and the more I love myself, the more I love him. So it's this like co-creation. A lot of people are very religious and spiritual and they say they love God, but like they're treating themselves like, not so good. And I feel like our relationship with ourselves is a direct relationship with our higher power, with our creator. So we definitely, honor him by honoring ourselves as like the sacred temple that we are. And joining in a community of others that are doing this, because a lot of the time out there in the world, like most people are not consuming this kind of way, and we could feel really disconnected and really different from others. So finding a tribe of people that you feel are growing, expanding, and learning new ways and up-leveling themselves is super, super important. Kings and Queens of Raw, join our support community. Super amazing. We do royal gatherings in there every Saturday, and we can ask questions to each other and we support each other in really beautiful ways. Daily efforts seem to work wonders. Yeah, every day we got to do a little something, one thing towards our growth, towards our expansion, and that is super supportive. A great way to de-stress the gut is to breathe properly and give thanks while eating. This will encourage better digestion. Yes, great suggestion, King Chandan. Yeah, giving thanks is a huge mindfulness practice. Gratitude is everything. Even when we pick the fruit at the grocery store, like give thanks. Give thanks when you take off the herbs from the stem, right? If you're like taking mint, and just give thanks for everything. I find that gratitude is what pulled me out of depression. Every day I would write 10 things that I was grateful for. When I was in rehab, my coach told me to write 10 things I was grateful for. And that was the beginning of my gratitude practice. And I bring that forward in everything in my life, because even if I'm having like a down day, I know I have so much to be grateful for. And I'm even grateful for the down day. I'm even grateful for my sadness, like everything that comes when we have more gratitude for it. And also, like, I'm not saying I do this all the time, but but eating with no distraction is really beneficial if we're having digestive issues, like taking the time to chew the food and like mix it up with your saliva and sit down without your phone, without the TV on, and just like sit with it. This is a practice that I find really challenging because I'm like constantly on my phone and stuff. But I remember when I was at this monastery, we didn't have our phones. It was at Thich Nhat Hanh's place at Deer Park in California, and we didn't have our phones, we didn't have any TV, we didn't have anything, and we actually couldn't even talk during mealtime. Everybody was silent, and we would just sit there and chew our food, and it was so uncomfortable at first. I was like, but I'll always remember that experience, and I haven't really, I mean, unless I'm alone, I could recreate it, but when we're around people, it's hard not to talk around mealtime and things like that. But I remember like the food just tasting so much better. I didn't eat that as much as I would if I was being distracted or talking all the time. So yeah, being in silence, chewing the food really good, and not drinking water. This is another one that Chandan teaches me, taught me. So yeah, no water during your mealtime, because that really dilutes the acids in the stomach and stops you from having the natural, chemical reaction that you're supposed to have, and the enzymes to break down the food like it's supposed to. The water is just diluting it, so it'll create a lot of issues with the digestive system. So drink water like an hour before your meal, and then wait about 3 hours after your meal before drinking. So try to have your water like outside of the meals. Definitely that helps to have better absorption as well in the body, so that your body can actually like absorb all the food that's going on. And if you're eating a lot of fruit, you're not going to need that much water, right? We need to drink a lot of water, and like doctors recommend, I don't know how many liters of water a day, but it's only because everybody's eating so much salt, so many salty foods that create a lot of dehydration in the body. Therefore, you need more water. But if you're drinking like a lot of juices and a lot of fruits, high, water content salads and things like that, you're really going to see you don't need that much water. You're going to be hydrated with those foods, right? Get your water, structured water from the fruits and veggies. It's way better quality than drinking devitalized water, dead water. Hi, everybody coming in. Good to see you. Do I have a nighttime routine? Good question. Good question. I definitely have a prayer routine, after I put Zaya to sleep. I put her to sleep, and then I take my time and do a little meditation, do a little prayer. I journal every day. Usually at night, I'll journal for a few minutes, and that's about it. I do some stretching. I should be more consistent with my nighttime routine, but those are the things that I pretty much do every day. Like I pray, I do my journal, and I do some stretching either in the rising or at night. I'll do a little bit of stretching, and I should be reading. Well, I shouldn't say should. I would like to read more in the evening time instead of being on my phone, but I'm often on my phone. But I try to put my phone down about 20 minutes before I go to sleep, and do something else so that my eyes don't get so affected and I could dream deeper, because that's definitely a thing. I think like being on my phone till late at night definitely affects my dream cycles and my sleep cycles. So thank you for reminding me that I need a better nighttime routine to take better care of myself, because it's important. Okay, I see. I always watch something on my computer when I eat. I'll have to try to eat without distraction. Now let's give ourselves a little challenge, eating with no distractions. Queen Nancy, I love when you said we were made to stand out. That's right. Meant to shine our light. Meant to be the bright beacons of hope in this world. Queen Danielle says, even when I first went vegan, I felt like my friends were YouTubers. Yeah, me too. Like they were the only people who I related to for a while. For real. And that's okay. Even if we're all online, we still have a deep, deep connection to one another. And yeah, like YouTubers are real people. We have each other here on this virtual realm, but we're real. We're real life individuals, and we're here to inspire each other. And I can't wait for the day that we all meet in the flesh, because that'll be another next level to our connection. Some have even mentioned that depression is the consequence of gratitude deficiency. Wow. By constantly practicing gratitude, you avoid the deficiency. Yes. Thanks, Chandan, for saying that. That's true. And vice versa, you know, when we practice gratitude, we can pull ourselves out of our depression. We can pull ourselves out of our addictions. Gratitude is so powerful, so powerful. I'm telling you, I don't always write it down, but every day I make an effort to think about things that I'm grateful for. And it really has been changing my life completely. And not only that, but it attracts more things to be grateful for. It's like the law of the universe says that what you focus on, you know, grows. So like if you put your energy into that feeling of lack or that feeling of I don't have enough, then you're going to continue to attract that lack. But if you start saying to yourself, like, I have everything I need, I give thanks for the friends in my life, I give thanks for the clothes that I'm wearing and the air that I'm breathing and the sun, like those will magnify. The friends that you have will magnify. The abundance, your financial abundance will magnify. Like if we keep saying, oh, I don't have money, I don't have enough, my friends suck, like I don't love my life, I hate my job. Well, guess what? The universe is going to keep sending you those same things. The universe is going to keep sending you things to complain about because that's the vibration that you're requesting. That's the vibration that you're on, and you're literally creating your future based on your present. You're literally creating whatever you're attracting based on what you're saying right now. So everything in my life right now that I've been manifesting is because a few years ago, I decided to start thinking differently. I decided to like change my thoughts to like, I have everything I need. I give thanks. This world is a beautiful place. I am choosing courage. I am choosing love. I am, you know, financially secure. I earn a lot of money, you know, I have all the friends I need. And this has been an accumulation of those thoughts, right? It's like I've been putting those, Kingdom talks about like putting money in our bank, you know, like putting points in our bank. Every time we have a positive thought, every time we do a positive deed, every time we feed ourselves good and we give ourselves that love and respect, then we put those, you know, those points into our bank, and it adds up. It adds up to like a lush, gorgeous, healthy, rich life and existence that matters. And it's not just about the money, but it's like the quality of the life. Are you doing what you love? Are you thriving physically, emotionally, spiritually? And we never end, right? The journey never ends. It never ends. The healing is ongoing. There's different levels, there's different layers, there's initiations that we go through, and we have to be ready to go through them. We have to be ready to go through the detox. That's another thing why people often fall off this path, is the detox that might happen. Some people have it harder than others, but there is a detox process. There's a change, like your whole body can, you know, your composition, your gut microbiome, everything is shifting. So yeah, you might get breakouts. Yeah, you might, you know, have dizziness or feel nauseous, but it's only the body toxicity that's like exiting and finally able to be released. So, you know, we can't be afraid of those detox symptoms. It's important to know about them, to be aware of them, but it's one of those things, sometimes it might get worse before it gets better, but it will get better over time. And that's again why having a mentor, a coach, a support community is so important, because if we're doing this on our own and we're having the detox symptoms and things are coming out of us that we've never seen before, we might get a little scared, or even run to a doctor and they won't know at all what to do. They're just going to like put a pill in you to like suppress the symptoms and tell you to stop juicing, or what you're doing is dangerous, or things like that. So we want to be mindful to not necessarily run to the same medical kind of, you know, paradigm that suppresses symptoms as opposed to heals the body holistically. So we want to look at the body as a whole mechanism able to heal itself, right? The juices don't heal you, they give the body the chance to heal themselves. The herbs, the same thing, they give the body the chance to heal itself and to purge out whatever needs to be purged out. But we got to give the body the right conditions to expel what needs to be expelled, for the parasites to be expelled as well. The parasites won't live in an environment that's inhospitable. You know, the parasites, they want to feed on the starches and the sugars and the the fats and, you know, all those things that come from dead, denatured, processed foods. But if you continue to put like more natural foods in you, eventually they will die off and they will go away because they're not having a good time in there. There's not much for them to feed on. Let me see. True wellness is so much more than just the absence of pain. Emily Simpson. Yeah. Sometimes they feel pain when detoxing and run from it instead of working towards wellness. Absolutely, King Andre. That's right. That's right. This is the path of the warrior. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but the rewards are great. The rewards are great for facing ourselves and knowing that we're not just here to do it for ourselves, but we're here because we're releasing like generations of built up trauma, passed on from generation to generation. And we're here to release it. If we feel called on this path, it's because we're being asked to purge it and to heal it for our own children and for all generations to come. I see Queen Lily asks about any resources for trauma. So I'm reading this book actually, Overcoming Complex PTSD. I think, yeah, Overcoming Complex PTSD. It's a really good book. I can't think of the author off the top of my head, but also Gabor Mate, Gabormate. Gabor Mate is a really amazing, let me write it down. And he also works with psychedelics for trauma. Overcoming PTSD. He's my favorite go-to. And he is a child of a Holocaust survivor. So he really knows a lot about trauma. He's been through it himself. He's got videos on YouTube as well. But yeah, look up like, yeah, complex PTSD. Let me think. In our group too, Queen Lily, reach out in our community and ask the questions. And I'm sure a lot of our kings and queens will be able to support you and give some different resources because we're all kind of going through it. And again, you know, psychedelic medicine, like plant medicine, iboga, ayahuasca, mushrooms. Like I'm a huge advocate for these plant medicines. You know, books are great, teachers are great, guides are great, but you hold the key. And with these medicines, they really help you to access those parts of yourself that are very difficult to access even in therapy. You know, we say like one session of iboga is like 10 years of therapy because we go so deep into our own psyche, into our own spirit, and we're able to process those traumas in a way that we just couldn't do it with this state of consciousness that we're on, with all the like inhibitors that we have to our own DMT being released. So definitely like reach out to me if you have questions about plant medicine, because I would not be here today if it wasn't for these sacred plants, you know, that literally saved my life and helped me break out of my old patterns and paradigms and way of thinking. Like it was like literally, it was like mental parasites were just taken out of me, and physical as well. So I see Queen Stephanie likes that. Yeah, mushrooms. Sometimes I'm worried to like talk about these things on YouTube, but it's okay if they want to flag me or whatnot. Yeah, determination is key, right, Dr. Cornelio? We fight through the temporary discomfort and pain. Got to be ready. We got to be ready to let it go because, you know, if it's not serving us anymore, then it's bringing us down. If it's not nourishing us or healing us, then it's poisoning us. And only we know what those poisons are. Some people can drink, you know, some people can smoke, and it's not a poison to them. For me, it was a poison. For me, eating a cooked meal was becoming poison. You know, I just couldn't function as well. I couldn't think as well. So at the end of the day, when you realize the effects that it has on your body and on your mind and spirit, that's when you make that decision, when you're ready to do whatever it takes to feel your best, regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of what other people are doing, and you're so steadfast on your own evolution and your own healing, then that's when you're going to do it. That's when you're going to do it. People called you crazy for talking about parasites. That's because they got parasites. They'll call you crazy because it's the parasites talking. The parasites don't want you to be talking about them because they're about to die, and these parasites have a life. These parasites, if you see them, they got teeth. If you look and you do a close-up of the parasites, they got fangs, okay? And they're literally living in us, and they're taking over. Like they got control over our mind, they got control over our body. They're telling us what to do, what to eat. Like this whole world is controlled by parasites, parasitic activities. And if you look at like even the wars that are going on, and everything is just related to people being mind controlled, I believe, by their own internal situation that's going on. And I really believe, and why this work is so powerful is that I really believe that when we change ourselves, when we heal ourselves, we become more peaceful. We become more loving individuals when we are loving ourselves. Like there wouldn't be so much crap in this world if everybody was living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with themselves, with their children, and having this like just self-love all around. Like love for others come from love from within. So when we take care of our own internal terrain and our own like sacred garden within, then we create a heaven on earth. We create heaven out there, and it all starts from here. So like death begets death. If we're consuming a lot of animals and we're eating that trauma and we're continuing that perpetual cycle of pain and slaughter and death, like if we're eating that, then it's a lot easier for us to even, kill another man or woman. If you know what I mean? Like, I know that might be an extreme comparison, but it's true. Like if we're consuming death, then we are on that death vibration, we're on that death frequency. And so I believe that we're only going to stop like killing one another if we stop killing animals. It goes together, it goes hand in hand. Like peace on earth among, man and woman is the same as like peace on earth towards all animals. And we just start become like more peaceful within ourselves and loving towards ourselves. And we also start loving animals more too when we stop eating them. And again, start by reducing it. You don't have to cut it out completely. Just start by reducing it. Enjoy your transition, enjoy your journey. So like if you're used to having like a big piece of steak, for example, start by like reducing it, the size, and having like a bigger salad on the side, and building up the living foods. Don't cut it out right away. Sometimes the psyche can't handle cutting out things, but start incorporating more living foods. And maybe not having it like 3 times a day, maybe having it once a day instead of 3 times a day. And I love to change the breakfast up. Like that's the one that I feel is maybe the most easiest to change up in the day, is to like focus on the breakfast and change that to maybe like a smoothie or a juice or a big bowl of fruit, things like that, before maybe even having the regular breakfast. If you're going to have your regular breakfast, maybe have it like around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. But first and foremost, have like that big glass of juice, those fruit, and start hydrating yourself, because that first meal will definitely set the tone for the whole day. But if you're starting off the meal, like the day, with a very dense, heavy meal, you're setting the tone for the whole rest of the day to be like that too. And you might be too tired to, make the change at that point. But if you start with the first meal being a living foods meal, that's the best. Parasitosis, they called it, being serious. Yeah. Parasites be tapping their fingers on their table, waiting for the bread and donuts. No bread, I'm going to scream. Yeah. I mean, they do react. They do react. They do scream if you think about it. And also like the cravings don't last forever. I just want to say this, at the beginning when I was, not eating the bread and not eating the potatoes and things like that, like I definitely had more cravings for them. But over time, like I said, like when you kill off the parasites, if you do a juice cleanse, for example, or if you go towards more fruit lifestyle, and you just say, okay, whatever it takes, I'm going to eliminate it. After a certain time, you're not going to be addicted to them anymore. You're just not going to feel that physical pull towards them. You might have a mental pull sometimes and like think about it and think of how good it was, but it won't be like the parasites screaming out for it. So definitely focus on getting them out and building rebuilding the gut microbiome in a new way. And then at a certain point, you're just going to thrive and you're going to feel naturally inclined to these foods. The more you do that, the more you'll feel inclined to having them. But yeah, the emotional part is, I think, is the hardest thing. Being raw is like not just about the food. It doesn't really have much to do with it. It's more about our self-worth and the self-development that we're doing on ourselves, I believe. And again, being raw doesn't necessarily have to be 100%. It doesn't have to be like 100%. Being raw could be, 80% raw and then 20% cooked. A lot of people are doing like raw till 4, for example, and that's raw. Like, that's great. We're not here to put labels on people. It's true that we talk about being raw, but it doesn't have to look like 100%, I had to be 100% because anything else didn't feel good. So I have come to that point where it's 100% with no negotiation, no like compromise, because even a little bit of cooked foods would make me really tired, would bring about the symptoms of depression and anxiety and things like that. And even in the raw world, I'm still dealing with certain foods that don't do good for me. So it's definitely a journey, and we're in this together. If you need some support, reach out to me. I do offer private coaching. I offer like one-on-one coaching calls, and also an 8-week revival program where we go on a journey together for 8 weeks. And we really learn to go deep into like the root cause of why, you're struggling and why it's hard to change. And once we get to that other side of the fear, then there's breakthroughs. And just having somebody like an accountability partner is so beneficial, to knowing that we have that kind of support and we're not doing this on our own. So definitely reach out to me if you have any questions. Reach out to me if you'd like to join our support community, or if you have any more questions about this. But yeah, basically is like not getting enough calories, respecting the transition. There is a transition towards more like mucus-less foods. If you haven't read the Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System, that's a great place to start when it comes to the transition. It's not 100% raw, but it's a great way to go from point A to point B to point C, with looking at like the mucus forming foods, which is dairy, meat, breads, pastas, and moving more towards a mucus lean diet, more like sweet potatoes, steamed veggies. We could have a little bit of baked beans and things like that. So respecting the transition and respecting that it might take time, might take a few years in order to get to raw. I've been on this journey for 8 years. It hasn't always been easy. A juice cleanse would be really beneficial too. A juice cleanse would require you to only drink juice for a few days, preferably 40 and more, to remove the mucoid plaque that is constricting the bowels. There's a lot of mucoid plaque that's built up in the system from years and years of poor food habits, alcohol, and drugs, medication, all that stuff. So it builds up in the system, in the small intestine especially. So a juice cleanse would be an amazing way to get the body cleaned out and transition to raw. That's what did it for me. I did 113 days on juices. You don't have to go that long, but definitely a 40-day juice cleanse. And you can start off with a 7-day juice cleanse too. 7 days would be really beneficial if it's your first time. So again, I could support you in that. We have the protocol in the group. I have YouTube videos as well if you want to share those and see them. How to rebuild the gut as well is really important. But a juice cleanse is not the only way, but it's a great way to transition to raw. And you could do that from any diet, but you could also prepare for it if you want your detox symptoms to not be so intense, because sometimes the detox can be pretty intense if you've been consuming a lot of toxic foods before the juice cleanse. You got iboga. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, iboga is a powerful addiction interrupter. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Iboga saved my life. We could also microdose on the iboga. Take 2 grams a day, and that helps a lot too. You don't necessarily have to do a big flood dose. But yeah, reach out to me if you have any questions. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here on this amazing journey, and stay hydrated, eat your fruits, wash your fruits. I always wash my fruit with a little bit of baking soda soaked in water as well. I know there's a lot of agrochemicals in the foods that we eat, so definitely wash your fruit. If you can, grow your own food, get organic food. That's always the best, because those agrochemicals definitely affect us a lot, affect our gut, affect our mood in a lot of different ways. So try as much as possible to be organic, or to wash your fruit if you can't be organic. But definitely that's the direction I'm heading into, is to like grow my own food and be closer to nature, do like, you know, exchanges with other communities, with other people growing the food. Like there's so much we could do to reclaim our power beyond, you know, just consuming what the grocery stores are giving us. Is like taking back our power and teaching our children, you know, about growing, and teaching ourselves how to do it too as possible. Totally possible and totally doable. But enjoy the journey. It's an art. It's an art of detox. It's like Queen Sabina says, it's a refinement and a never-ending journey of, you know, attunement and perfecting things and fine-tuning things. Like, you know, even if a few years ago, if I said like, oh, I wouldn't be eating salt at this point, I would be like, oh no, that's too much. But it's been a journey, you know, of like letting go of the refined sugars, for example, letting go of the breads and the pastas and the eggs. It was like one at a time, as I include more. That's the only way. We have to replace it with healthier habits, you know, with sunlight, with grounding, breath work, good friends, having positive people in our life, and detoxing what no longer serves us in all the different ways. You are your number one. You are royal. You are divine. And remember who you are. And the more you remember who you are, the more you remember that you're a king, you're a queen, you are the master of your domain, and you can say no. Setting boundaries for yourself is super important. Then the food will kind of come more naturally. The self-love will come more naturally through the food, and you will ask for what you need from those you love, and you will receive everything you need from you loving yourself more, and everybody around you will be happier too. Yes, I hope you have a great Sunday. Thank you all for being here with me today. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am here for you. All right, blessed Sunday. I will see you soon.